This is the 105th episode of the Effective Executive podcast and YouTube channel. And this week I want to talk about executive turnover. And I've labeled this, Are You Ready? And this can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. If you means your organization, that would be one way that you need to be ready for executive turnover. If you are an aspiring executive, that is another group of people that need to be ready so that they can step up within their organization. And then new executives, whether that be new to the company or new to the position, you need to be ready also to take over. Now, one of the things that I found is that there are 11,293 business executives in the United States. And 60% of those are male, 40% are female. The average age is 44. Now, here's the interesting statistics that I found, which is that 74% are gone within 4 years. So that's the amount of turnover that there is in executive positions. And you can kind of walk through the statistics here. It's about 19% are gone, in less than a year. In 1 to 2 years, about 40% are gone. And then in 3 to 4 years, 15% are gone. So those are stats that are were pretty eye-opening to me. I really hadn't looked at these. I was turned on to them from a executive recruiter who had access or knew of a website where they could, where you could access this information. So there is constant turnover. And if you also consider that 87% are gone within 7 years, the question has to become, are you ready? Is your organization ready? If you're an aspiring executive, are you ready to step up into the position? If you're a new executive to the company or to the position, are you ready to take over? And what I find is most companies rely a lot on their recruiting efforts, and they don't have people that are ready to step up. There is a difference between being a manager and being an executive. And if you think that they're the same, therein lies the problem. Most companies will post their executive positions internally before posting them externally, giving people a chance. And so for these aspiring executives, the question has to become, are you ready? And it's more than just the leadership types of things. It's also being ready by being capable of creating value within your organization. Do you have a method to do it? And I would have to say, from my experience in working with organizations, neither one exists. They're just hoping that by their good graces that they'll get promoted into an executive position. Now, here's an interesting statistic too. When hiring external executives, 40% are gone within 18 months. So there's a lot of waste associated with that. And I think one of the problems when you look at new executives to a company is they try to assume, or they do assume, that the company that they're going to, they can run like they did in the old company that they left. And that is always a recipe for failure. That cannot happen. You have to be able to adjust to a different system. And that doesn't mean you don't have skills that are useful. It just means that the system's different, and therefore you're going to have to learn to be flexible and to pivot those skill sets to fit the organization that you're walking into. And so, we find that if for internal candidates for executive positions, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to hire that candidate. but it takes 8 to 12 weeks plus to hire an external candidate, plus the time they have to go through in order to break a new person in. They have to understand the system they are operating in, and I think that's where you have such a high rate of failure. 40% to me is pretty high of people that come in and they can't make the adjustment. So what do even the organizations, what do they need? The aspiring and new executives and organizations, they need to have people or gain the skills that create value for the organization. And they need a method to do so. At least that's my opinion. You've got to have some way of walking through the organization step by step in order to understand how to create value for the organization. Now, what I do is I work with executives or with organizations in business transformation to develop those executive skills. And I have a course that's out there currently, which I'll talk about here in a few minutes, but around synthetic thinking and developing an aim, understanding the new system in which you're operating, developing the skills if you're an aspiring executive to be able to move into those positions. And synthetic thinking skills are not an intuitive thing. You have to develop them. You just aren't born with them. People are born with the analytical skills, which is how I tear things apart, and not the synthetic skills to be able to look at an entire system. You need to develop those in order to be an effective executive. And then after that is in place, which is one of the courses that I have, but you also need to develop decision-making skills as you move through. You need to develop innovation within your organization or within your division. You need executive data analytics. What are the analytics that you're looking at? Is it all financial stuff that I've already spent many episodes on explaining that, the outcome measures of financials are driven by other analytics, and those are the ones that we'll discover either together or going through the course that I put together. Then you have customer end design, which is a whole nother level. So now that you understand your system, how are you going to change it? What does it need to be changed to within your organization? So the course that I have is at the95method.com/courses. You'll see a free thing in there, but you'll also see the $1,500 effective executive course. And that is the foundational course for all of the other videos that I have that I have not put out on the Thinkific website that I have internally that I share with executives that I coach. Now, with the $1,500, we get you the foundational pieces, which include four 30-minute sessions, so you can ask questions and obviously take emails in between and messages and things of that sort to help you through so that you can be ready when there's executive turnover, which is inevitable within your organization, and a development of those particular skills. So whether you're an organization developing future executives within your company, one of the questions that I'm going to ask is, do you have something in place? If you don't, I can help fill that void. Are you an aspiring executive? Are you ready to step up? Do you have the skill sets? And I'm not talking about, I don't do the soft skills, remember. I do the hard skills of how do we create value within an organization. And then there are the new executives, whether that's new to the company or to the position. And it's this system will show you how to create value in a new position or in a new company where you don't make assumptions about your old company that you were in and bring in that into a completely different system where it may or may not work. And so you go into it with your eyes open and have the ability with a method to create value within the organization that you're at. Now, you can also contact me if any of these things are things that you're interested in, either for your company or for yourself. Then contact me at the95method.com/let's talk. And it's a 30-minute meeting where we can talk and just kind of walk through where you are in the organization, those types of things. And it's something I set up first because obviously there has to be a match between me and the person that I'm working with. You know, what their view is, and a number of those types of things. That saves me time by virtue of having this 30-minute meeting. So that's what I wanted to cover this week. And you've got to remember that there is always a better way.